Wilbon, what is Sandy Pockets thinking here? He inherits a roster that went 8-5 last season, brings in a few nice pieces and some questionable ones, and immediately takes them on the road to two tough environments. Is he crazy or confident?
Crazy, Tony. Not just on the road. They play the fourth best team in the country in Oklahoma after that. Look, Sandy Pockets was a revelation at Florida State 5 years ago. I get this is his dream job. I get that he wants to get back to the top of the mountain, but I don't think it's going to happen overnight.
Is Sandy Pockets out of his mind? Who does this man think he is? Did he not watch this football team lose 5 games last season with Dan Lanning, who is a very good football coach? Did he turn back into Nick Saban last night? Oh, and B, by the way, have you seen his quarterback from Utah State? Kid has thrown 15 passes in his life.
Spring had given Michigan direction. September would demand something harder. The Wolverines opened the season with a tough schedule, one that had many doubting their ability to compete. 4 weeks, 4 ranked opponents. No room to become a team slowly. And in Ann Arbor, patience has never been part of the atmosphere. There's a saying at Michigan, one emblazoned on walls around the athletic facilities. Those who stay will be champions. For Joel Sabri and Greg Sahara, it wasn't just a slogan, it was a responsibility. In a transfer era, staying at one school can feel almost old-fashioned. For Sabri and Sahara, it felt necessary. Joel Sabri did not carry himself like a player waiting for someone else to define the room. He acted like the room was his responsibility. For Sabri, leadership was not performance, it was repetition. Set the expectation, correct the mistakes, demand the standard again.
Anybody can bring in speed, anybody can bring in talent, but if nobody teaches a room how to work, all you've got is parts. This isn't anywhere, this is Michigan, and that means something to me.
Greg Sahara's role was different. If Sabri was the voice, Sahara was the assurance behind it. The veteran who knew the difference between a talented defense and a successful one. The player who came back because he wanted the ending to feel complete.
When I came back, I wasn't just coming back to play. I was coming back to win. I want people to remember me like Charles Woodson, like Ty Law. Nobody remembers losers.
For Sabri, staying was stewardship. For Sahara, it was unfinished business. Together, they became the players responsible for making sure Michigan felt like Michigan again. Around them, Michigan added speed and disruption through the portal. Airy Striker came from Florida with burst and instinct. Kiki B arrived from Rutgers with edge and power. Rayshawn Kuma from North Carolina with the calm confidence of a true cover corner. Sabri and Sahara gave the defense its structure. The transfers gave it teeth. But Michigan did not just need the new defenders to flash. It needed them to absorb the standard already in the room. Michigan's new-look defense wouldn't have to wait long to find its first test. Pockets was no stranger to the hostile crowd at Hard Rock Stadium, but his veteran leader would make an immediate impact. The defense Sabri, Sahara, and Pockets had envisioned was on full display. Fast, organized, and violent. Once they smelled blood in the water, there was no escape for the Hurricanes. In the opening minutes of the season, Michigan's defense delivered the one thing the team had been chasing since spring: proof. But on offense, few players had more to prove than Darryl Bigsby. At 6'4" and 210 pounds, Bigsby fits the quintessential Michigan mold. Braylon Edwards, Devin Funchess, Nico Collins. But while he looked like a #1 wide receiver, his stats told an entirely different story. Originally from Brooklyn, New York, Bigsby chose to stay close to home, committing to Matt Foley's Rutgers over Pockets, Florida State. But Foley left before he'd taken a snap, replaced by South Florida coach and Pockets rival, Juan Papi. Over 4 years and 30 games, Bigsby waited for the offense to catch up to the player he believed he was becoming. It never did. 19 catches, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brooklyn had given him a quiet kind of stubbornness. Not fake toughness, not loud swagger. The kind that says, if you commit to something, you finish it. That instinct is part of why he stayed at Rutgers as long as he did, and part of why the disappointment cut so deep when the role never arrived.
I'm not wired to leave the second something gets hard. That's not how I was raised. If I say I'm in, I'm in. But when he left, I wondered if I put my faith in the wrong coach this whole time.
Under Juan Papi, Rutgers won enough to stay relevant, made the playoff twice, built the impression that something bigger was always just ahead. But the breakthrough never came. No conference titles, no national championships. Then, before his senior year could become the payoff for all that waiting, Papi left for Notre Dame, another upward move in a career that kept climbing faster than the promises left behind. Brooklyn gave Bigsby his edge. Rutgers gave him his doubt. Michigan gave him a different offer: opportunity. And like his teammates on defense, that opportunity didn't take long to find. Bigsby would finish the game with 9 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. But more important than the numbers was the feeling. The role finally matched the player. But as quickly as hope can arrive, so too can doubt. An interception from Hollis helped put Michigan behind 10-0, and for a moment, all the questions came roaring back. This was the real test of the standard Sabri and Sahara had been trying to teach. Not what the Wolverines looked like when everything was flowing. What they looked like when the game pushed back. Michigan did not splinter. It settled. And what began with doubt turned into another kind of proof. Not that Michigan could start fast, but that it could answer adversity without losing itself. The offense had balance and bite. The defense had structure and speed. And the standard Michigan's leaders had tried to protect was beginning to show up in its new additions. This was no longer just a fast start. It was becoming identity. On the next episode of All or Nothing.